Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening, and it sounds just like a song. I want more berries and that summer feeling. It's so wonderful and warm. Breathe me in, breathe me out. I don't know if I could ever go without.
All right, everybody, what is up? I was catching myself trying to sing the song. Um, let's start out. Thank you guys so much for joining the show this evening. We got another great guest lined up for you guys. Appreciate everybody who always shows up and is part of the community, guys. You know, you are the lifeblood of what we do here. So let's get all the particular information out of the way. If this is the first time checking out the show, we are streaming live on multiple platforms, and you can check us out on our YouTube page here, and you can see the link down below there. Wrong way, right there. There it is. Let's go. www.youtube.com/C/made from scratch broadcast. So if you're checking us out on YouTube, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're always trying to build our viewership there. So thank you so much if you're checking us out on YouTube. And please hit the notification bell. It'll let you know whenever we do go live, whenever we schedule new lives, like shows that are coming up. And of course, whenever we drop new video content on the channel. So if you're checking us out on YouTube, thank you guys so much. And of course, you can check us out on our Facebook page at Mfsb Live on Facebook as well. Same sort of deal. Hit the like button. It'll give you the option to set notifications. And of course, same thing, man. We're always glad if you want to follow us on Facebook. You can check us out there. Appreciate you. Drop down in the comments. Let us know you're watching there. And of course, where else? Going blank for right now for some reason. Oh, excuse me. We're going live on Twitch, and you can check us out on our Twitch stream if you're watching on Twitch, and that is at www.twitch.tv/MFSB Live. If you're checking us out on Twitch, cool stuff that you can go do there. Please, I implore you to go set up your own Twitch if you're not used to it, and get on there and start chatting. It is a great platform to be on. So many interesting things that you can do on there. So if you're checking us out on Twitch, thank you guys. You guys rock. And of course, we're streaming live on our favorite platform, LinkedIn. So if you're checking us out on LinkedIn, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you being part of the LinkedIn community. So drop it down in the comments. Let us know that you're watching. You're part of this evening show. Always, always happy to have every single one of you there. So we already got people commenting. Thank you, Nancy. LinkedIn user. Hey, what is up, LinkedIn user? So we are streaming live. And of course, we also do a separate thing on Instagram. But I forgot to bring my phone, so I didn't set up the Instagram thing. Sorry, guys, no Instagram tonight. You're stuck like Chuck. But that's okay. We'll work through it. So exactly. Now what? Oh, okay. Now what studios? What is up? Watching on YouTube. So thank you guys. Oh, Mary Shay, how are you doing? And of course, one of the things that I wanted to mention about tonight is the fact that me and this evening's guest have been trying to get together and have a conversation for a while. And I've actually seen her on other people's lives and commented and was like, oh man, I love what she was talking about, and I got to have her on the show, and reached out, and our paths just for some reason would not let us cross. So the only way we could actually do it, what is up, Charlie Powers? The only way we could actually do it, guys, was to come on live. This is the only way we were going to have this conversation. So stuck like Chuck. Yes, man, I love it. Poor Chuck. No, actually, it's poor Charlie. So, guys, if you don't know, let me see if I can pull up the poor Charlie or sorry Charlie. It's not poor Charlie. It's sorry Charlie. The sorry Charlie gif. That's right, guys. If you don't know, Mr. Powers has his own gift that we made for him. If I can actually find it, so I will look for it here in a minute. It's here. But I digress. let's keep going. And I wanted to talk about um, why I was very interested in having um, Foley on, because she was actually referred to me quite a while back. I believe the conversation when I was first told about Foley and that I should have her on was I was actually with Wendy, who's been on the show, guys, Wendy Weinerungi, and of course Amy Blatchka, and that was one of the things they were like, "Hey, you need to have her on. She's really cool." So I said, "Okay, let's do it." And that was the kind of the whole genesis of trying to get this started. And it's been a Howard Kaufman. How are you doing? It's been a thing ever since to try to get her on here. So, and there's Wendy right already watching there. So yes, Foley is your spirit animal. We know she's awesome. And yeah, we're here. Oh, here it is. There it is, guys. Boom. There it is. That's the Charlie. Sorry, Charlie gift there. There you go. Just Okay. Now let's get going into this evening's guest. So again, she is a very interesting person because she's actually this is why I kind of like what she does, right? She's doing her own, first of all, she's putting together her own podcast, right? Um, and her podcast is called Operation Innovation. And you can check it out. She actually streams some of them on YouTube. So if you want to go to her YouTube channel, I'll pull it up here so you guys can share it in a link. But she is about leadership and passion. And she's also, guys, she's also in the military as well. So she's not just that. And then of course she's a mother on top of this. So this is what kind of makes it pretty incredible about what she does and why I think she has a lot of value. So guys, without further ado, help me welcome to the show this evening's guest, Miss Foley Hart. How are you doing, Foley?
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm just excited to be here, Gabe. You're so much fun. I love the colors. Yes, this is my favorite.
So yeah, so we get everything going here, and we just take it a little over the top, but that's okay. I think that's what life is about. Sometimes it's just giving it a little more than what they're used to. So
you gotta own yourself, man. We love it. We love that about you.
Exactly. So, and like I said, we had been trying to plan this conversation for a while because we wanted to have the opportunity to literally get to know each other a little bit better. I do love to have these sort of conversations prior because you can build a rapport with somebody and you can kind of get a read on how the conversation is going to go when you go live. But we planned and planned. It was things on. Sometimes it was like she had to reschedule because of her career. I mean, it's something that she just couldn't go like, oh, you know what? I'll just reschedule that. In the military, it's not like, oh yeah, just reschedule. We'll get it taken care of, right? It's more like, yeah, you got something you got to do. So, and then of course there were some things on my end where at times I was like, I just can't today. My car breaks down or whatever life throws. But you know what? It got to the point where I said, I got to find a way to get you on the show. So it took this a little bit, but here we are. You're here, and now we get to have a actual conversation. So, thank you, Nancy. She says, thank you for your service. That's sweet.
Thank you. That's very sweet. I appreciate that. Thank you guys for the support for sure. Gabe, that's one of the things that I really liked seeing about your podcast is just the community support that you guys have is absolutely amazing. Miss Silver Fox Talk. What is your actual name?
Okay, her name is Darlene. That is Darlene. That is her handle on Twitch. So
okay, so Miss Darlene, I'm an engineer, Army engineer. Thank you for the question.
There you go.
But yeah, your stream, it's always amazing to watch. Everybody's so engaged and excited, and they just love you and love being here. And
I think that's the fun part about it is you get to involve the community. Hey, buddy. And you get the kiddos involved, right?
Yeah, it's fine. They're you
Hey,
might hear periodic bangs on the door for mom. Sorry.
well,
It's
that's the thing.
8:30 here and it's bedtime, so
Yeah, that's the whole thing about it, right? It's like the moment you get on camera or get on a phone call, you become the most popular person in the house. So
can't even explain like the places my kids will sit. Like when it's crazy.
so it is, and that's why I found what what you've been doing sort of interesting, because again, it's not the easiest thing to do, to be in a career where you're in service like you are, and then of course wanting to do other things, where being a mother like that, and then of course even doing a podcast. I mean, to me that's kind of um, seeing that, wow, you're taking on a lot of things, and that's cool that you want to do that. And I figure that at some point you got to figure a way to process the kind of time management a little bit better, because I don't know if everybody knows, but sometimes taking the time to do one of these, even a 10-minute podcast, can take 30 minutes to do. I mean, it's because you got to record it, upload it, whatever it is you got to do to it. Sometimes it can go even longer than that. So
Mhm.
um, I commend you for doing that, because again, I tell some people, you just got to find that moment where you say, you know what, I got the time, I want to go ahead and put this out there. So kind of tell everybody a little bit about um, your podcast, and then we'll go a little bit more into how you got into the military, and why you're so passionate about wanting to help and teach others in roles of leadership and servitude like you're doing now, because again, it's very commendable to see somebody who takes that on and does that. So
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. Operation Innovation is a podcast that I've started. To Gabe's point, I do make the time. I can't just find the time, or else I would never do it. And so it's typically like really, really early mornings that like my kids will wake me up at 4 a.m. and I can't go to sleep. Then I'll do a podcast real quick, just knock it out, and then save it for the next week or the week after. And so definitely find the time. It's a whole lot of fun though to do that. So Operation Innovation, the idea behind it is that I want to be able to provide the tools for leaders to have success in their area, because every single leader is different. Every situation is different. And the way that you apply those things are just, to each his own. You've got a psychedelic thing going on. That I don't do that on my podcast, but I love the energy, and I love what happens here. And so, yes.
there you go. We change it up here. We do a little
We
extreme.
do.
So that's the whole thing about it. Is again, it's a different. And again, if everybody has their own style. Everybody has their own way of wanting to be creative, and that's what I love expressing with some folks. Is that, you know what, my level of creativity and your level of creativity are going to be different, but that also is how we actually operate as people in the real world, because we're all unique. Nobody looks at the same situation from the same view and the same perspective. I mean, it's everybody has their own take on it. So I tell everybody it. Yes,
I
seizure
was
warning.
just laughing at that.
So yeah,
I
seizure
saw it
warning,
in the
guy.
corner. Was like, ah.
It's
We were just
seizure.
talking about that.
Yeah, we were actually talking. We'll take it a little bit easier on you guys. A little easy on the eyes there. Um, we'll go with the different layout there. There we go. Okay. Now, but to the point, it takes certain things to be able to do that, and um, I'm very glad that you're actually doing that, putting your voice out there, because again, it is not the easiest thing to do, to sit down and actually say, you know what, I'm going to record whatever it is I want to say, put it out there into the world, and have people listen to it. Because for a lot of people, it's like, well, what if they don't like it? What if it's crap? What if it's this?
Mhm.
They're worried about the judgment point. So I think that is something that you kind of take on a stride, because you're in a role of actually doing leadership. So you have to deal with that, right? I mean, it comes with the territory.
Yes, it does. And so that's funny that you bring that up, because the whole reason I even had the confidence to step into the podcasting realm is because of a conversation I had with Wendy. And it just, what scared me the most wasn't necessarily like, is anyone going to like it? Because to your point, as a military leader, like, you have to do your thing. You got to own who you are. And as long as you're not a dick to other people, you're honest, you have integrity, you follow your ethical and moral compass, then you're going to do the right thing. So, that wasn't really my sticking point. My sticking point was more that I didn't feel like I had anything unique to say. And as I talked to Wendy about, well, I've seen so many challenges, transitioning from active duty to the civilian world, in that I realized that the civilians that I worked with, they didn't have all the training that I had for leadership. And, I tried to cram as much, in their brains as I could. And then I just thought, man, if I could only help more people, that would be great. And that was when, she really took the time to show me that, hey, this leadership experience that you have from the military is really, less than 1% of the United States has that experience. So, share it with the world. And so here I am.
Yeah. And again, like, so in a role at what you're doing now, in the military, and being in a role and where you're not only having to do in charge of adults, you're also the role of mother as well, which is another whole thing about having to be in a position of leadership by serving and doing an example. So how, let me ask you, does some of your experience that you take from the military help you in roles that you do in being a mother, or vice versa? Do roles that you do in being a mother help you in the military?
Vice versa. I'm gonna pause too, because there's some comments here that I'm seeing. Brittany, we've got kids we know. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yes. I really do. You're awesome for saying that. It's nice to be recognized. I see you too, Brittany. I see you too. Yes. Marissa, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Nancy, I appreciate you saying that we need your voice. That's amazing. I really appreciate the team here for sure. But to your point, so before I had children, I was very career. I mean, not that I'm not career focused now, but it was just different. Now there's a balance, whereas before it was 100%. Military, army every day, and in that mode, I respected that other people had families, but I didn't really get it. I didn't get what the balance was. Not that I had ever created barriers. I just didn't understand it myself. And then there were things that, my younger soldiers would do that I wouldn't understand why it was they were doing it. And, I just, some of the conversations when I first came into the military, very young in the military, I struggled with a little bit. And then whenever I became a mother, those conversations got significantly easier to have, because it was just like talking to my kids. And so, as a company commander, and this is playing it down significantly. So, but they're my kids, like, they're my family, and all 183 of them, I just wrapped around in like all the bubble wrap I could. And I did what I could. Like, I love you, like tough love on this side, but like, come here, I want to hold you. Like, I don't know, just, yes. So to your point, being a mom has definitely, it's changed my approach. And it's shifted the dynamic in my head, but I don't think that it's, changed it for the bad. I think it's changed it for the good, because then I do have these young soldiers that will come up and have these issues that I can say, I look to them like I would to, like my son, and say, man, if my son were saying this to me, what would I say to him? and then I
Yeah.
can give my answer,
I love that. Because again, I think the experiences that mothers have, because there's so many hats that they wear that go beyond just being a mom. It is a mother, a teacher, or well, especially now in COVID, it's a mother, teacher. It is now wife. It is, home. For some, it's homemaker, or it's entrepreneur, or whatever the role is. I mean, mothers take on a lot, and not to say that men don't. I believe me, I don't, but I have a lot of respect for women who operate in those roles, because sometimes it can be um, very, very overlooked by people close to your family, whatever. They don't always see the subtleties of what goes into being a mom and how important that is. So I really take that to heart, because it means a lot when I see that, because at some point I tell people I have 4 daughters. They'll probably have to go through these things themselves at one point in life, if they have kids or whatever it is, and try to have to deal with this. And it's something that, uh, you know, as a dad, it's not the fact that I don't have that, but it's a different sort of detachment from being away from my kids. Because again, you carried life in you for 9 months. It's a little bit different. I'm sorry, that's just the makeup of what it is, people. Um, so when there's a bond or whatever, I think that's cool that as a mother you're able to do that, and the skills that you take away from that can transition into something else. That's why I've been asking people a lot. Um, because again, like for some people, it's getting into a career field and they transition into something else. And they have a skill set, and they start talking about it, how certain things that they've learned in the past has helped them in their current position. And for some people, they don't even realize that they do that, though. Um,
hmm
because you take that away, sometimes it's ingrained in how your makeup is as a person, and you take those skills with you. So I love that you're able to do that. So
Yeah, and just to add to that, the parts that you can't see are the parts that you kind of heard out the door a little bit there earlier, which is that, my husband right now is corralling the kids, getting them ready for bed, giving me, the time to do this. And, as the commander there, in my whole career, I've only known 2 other women who were commanders. All the rest have been men. And so the Army really doesn't know what to do with a female commander. And I say that because there are some positions that are meant for the commander's wife role that my husband had to fulfill. And so he was the first husband, and it's a different dynamic. And but without that support, without him being behind me, supporting me the whole time, beside me, supporting me, sometimes in front of me, dragging me, supporting me. Like if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to do amazing. I wouldn't be able to talk to you right now. I wouldn't be able to have options for my career. I wouldn't be able to balance. There would be no balance. It would be, life. What is Operation Innovation? That never would have happened. There's so many things in my life that never would have happened if it wasn't for, the support network I had. So worth mentioning. Worth mentioning,
right? Yes, of course. So, well, and here's one of the things about why I think it's really important to kind of like spotlight what um, the roles of females play in our societies, because it's they ingrain so much in us, even as men. They ingrain a lot in us as kids that we grow up and we never forget those things. So I don't ever want that to be forgotten, or I don't want that to be forgotten's not the word for it. I don't want it to be overshadowed about how much importance a mother plays um, in somebody's life, especially again like men, because we are um, it's funny that we grow up, and that's one of the things for us. So we become, like they say, mama's boys, I guess. So we want to be around our mom, and it was one of the things that was kind of very hard. Myself, I went through separation, sort of anxiety with that, with my own mother, because she left when I was young. When I was, well, not really young, but I was 13.
Mhm.
So it was hard being without her. So I take that into account a lot of the time. So the role of a mother is so vital in anything. Just like I hear all the time that how important it is to have a father in somebody's life. For some reason, it just seems to be overlooked that the mother's just as important. So yeah, I love paying attention to that, because it's for me, it's a real, it has for me, it has a special meaning in what and how I do, and how I look at, at women who are doing all of these incredible things out in the world. So let me ask you about a little bit about why you chose getting into a role like you are now, or if it was one of those things that you kind of sought to get in a position like that, or was it something that you kind of saw an opportunity when you got into the military? Because that's one of those things where it's not the easiest thing to say. Well, we were talking about this before, to step in a role where you're in charge of so many people, because there's some people that it can overwhelm them to be in a position to pretty much tell people what to do. I mean, to lead. Yes, it's. I
Yeah.
mean, in the most simplistic terms, that's what it is, to tell people, hey, this is what has to be done. So, did you find that easy for you, or was that one of the things that you had to actually learn, that sort of skill to say, you know what, I had to figure out how to become a leader?
I think that it took me a while to step into who I wanted to be as a leader. And the first time when I was very young in my career, I was a platoon leader, and I actually got the opportunity to be a platoon leader twice. And that's funny. About this. I'm sorry, I can't pass it up.
Yes, I know, but that's Wendy. So
I love you,
thank you,
Wendy.
Wendy. Yes.
But aw, there we go. See, how can you pass by these comments, man?
You can't. They're just
You
there.
can't. I love
It's
you guys. Y'all are
it's
awesome.
it's very deep. I mean, they come here, and that's where, again, it's very understanding about. And this seems so much funny to me, because I usually have it. I usually have it littered with dudes in here, and tonight you drew something about the female in everybody that just said, you know what, this is going to be an all female room in here. So yeah, I love this. This is cool. I don't
All
mind it.
right.
So
But in answer to your question, as a platoon leader, I had dreamed about leading people up to that point, and I had studied theories and all those things, and so it was my first time to really apply the theory. And there were so many mistakes that I made, so many mistakes, but I learned from them. And so by the time that I had stepped into my company command position, I had made every mistake I was going to make as a leader. I had already kind of honed that craft, so that by the time I was leading a larger team, I already knew my style. I was already confident in what I was doing. I knew to trust myself. I knew how to pick out the right people to trust. I knew how to identify people not to trust. That are just things that you learn on the job, and there's really no other way to learn it, I feel like. So in answer to your question, once I stepped out of those platoon leader spots, I was ready to prepare for company command. Like, this was something that I wanted to do. I saw no other way around it. And yeah, I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else.
Yeah, and that's excuse me. That's one of the things where I've taken some of those roles on myself in my career, and in certain aspects I would say, you know what, this doesn't fit me. I knew at that point. I said, you know what, um, I was not cut out to be in this position or this sort of role in leadership in this industry. I mean, there's some things that you just want to walk away from and go, this is not what I had planned at all. This is not something that I expected. I mean, I was ambitious to want to do this, but once you get there and you go, I think that's one of the things that you got to figure out whenever you get in the position like that is this really made for me, and can I really excel in this position? So that's kind of apparent that you've done that as well, which is, like I said, which is pretty cool, that you can do so much in being in service like you are with the serving in the military, and in being a mother, and in wanting to get out and do different things, because again, I'm pretty sure that at some point you're going to want to step into a role where you're like, either I want to be in a position where I am in leadership, or I'm just going to be my own form of leadership and become an entrepreneur. So any plans that you might have, possibly plans, or maybe ideas, let's put it that way. Maybe at some point, once you figure out if you're gonna, because you're 9 years into the military. For those who don't know, another 9, you can retire. Full
something
benefit,
like that.
Something like that. I mean, you could actually, if you wanted to get out and get the full benefit, full sort of deal. But I think that for a lot of people who serve in the military, they have a lot of the makeup qualities to step into roles of entrepreneurship or leadership in positions once they get out of the military, because again, it's the training, the things that are instilled in them. So that's why I'm just asking, because I always marvel at some of the people who, when I meet them, they say, well, yeah, I was in the military for 12 years, or I was in the military for 18 years. And you go, oh, okay, makes a lot of sense. You have a lot of things, your skills, your organizational skills, the things that you do, you know how to actually operate very well within structure.
The military is a very good. I always was frustrated every role that I stepped into. I just wish that there was a magic pill someone could give me so I could know like all the tips and tricks that it takes, like 6 to 8 months to like any 3, 6, 8, something like that, depending on the job. But it takes you a while to learn those things, and I think that the military itself is just one giant like pill to give someone to be able to be successful outside of the military, because of just the shit that you have to go through, and it's a lot of shit. Like, I made my platoon leader time a very short blip to you, but like to me, it was an emotional event to go through all of that shit. It was a lot of stuff, and and I think going through the fire, just makes you grittier. Like you were talking about, is that Russ?
That's Russ. Hi. He's actually here.
Hi. Oh man. Hi, Darlene.
So yes, Russ Johnson in the house. Thank you so much, Russ, for stopping by.
I love your picture, Russ. That is such a sweet picture of you guys. I've never seen it, but it's beautiful. It
is, right? And it lets you know that there's that people have that closeness in life, and that's, again, this is what we talk about here. I mean, it's all about relationships and connection, and being close to the people who are part of this whole thing. So yeah, Nancy, you need to listen to her her podcast. Please do. Well, Nancy's.
Keep listening to Gabe's. You're fine. I love Gabe's podcast.
Nancy's awesome. If you guys have not connected with her, she's becoming one of my favorite people. So please do
Aw.
if you want to listen to Foley's. I'm just telling you, it's good. Um, and again, like you said, sometimes you can tell she records it very early in the morning. She's got her
I'm
coffee.
like doing this.
Yes, she's got her coffee cup. Yeah, she was doing one. You actually did a video that you posted on LinkedIn where you were talking about uh, a certain initiative that you were being part of, and it was you could tell you're like it's early in the morning. I have my coffee cup. It is like
Yep. I hadn't had a
so.
drop yet. I was
Yes.
like, before I do anything, I got to do the podcast. Boom, and just did it.
So Marissa's asking, what is it centered around? Your
Oh,
podcast.
yeah, absolutely. So, Operation Innovation is about giving tools for people's leadership tool bags for them to climb their mountains of success. That's the encapsulated idea. And so, everything that I talk about myself, everything that I try to bring in other people for, is all centered around little tips and tricks that will get somebody to where they need to go, because as we had talked about earlier, every single person is different. Their leadership styles are different. How they use things is different. And so I don't want to say my way is the only way, because I know it's absolutely not. So I can't be the only one, spilling all of these things. It has to be other people too. And me asking them, well, how is it that you lead? How have you found success? So really just trying to take all of those pieces and put it in a big pile that's like 10 minutes-ish or less, so that I don't lose people and sending it into the world.
Yeah, and again, I think that's pretty. Yes, the admiral's in the house, Wendy. So, but I think that's very. So, oh, okay. That's why. Yes, Marissa, that's what you get for
You're
leaving and coming
fine. No,
back.
no judgment. Like this podcast goes for a while, and like I was telling him, my kids are being put to bed in the other room, so we've got lives, man. I get it.
Yeah. So, and Marissa's awesome. She's a mother as well, and she's an entrepreneur, and she's doing. Again, this is why I say it seems like there's been a whole bunch of women in the house, but all of these women that are in here are living that lifestyle, right? They're women entrepreneurs. They're women who are actually who have careers, who are trying to work and make a way for themselves and building a better life. And
And
again,
they're doing it. They're lighting it on fire. I can tell. I can tell from here.
Hello, Hallie. How are you doing? She is Miss Sassy AF in the house, so thank you so much. She had it live earlier, so you need to go. If you got a chance, check out Hallie and her live stream. That was awesome. She had a good
Does
guest on
everyone
today.
here know about Russ John's
Oh,
podcast?
I believe so.
I just want to make sure, like, while we're talking about people, his is awesome.
Yes, he is. He's been doing it for a very long time. So, but again, this is why I say I reach out and I build relationships with a lot of these people who come and comment on here with intention, because they have so much more to offer when I have the ability to get these people on here and interview them, because I think their lives are just as interesting, because again, they're out there, they're real people. They're just who want to go out there and do what it is they're passionate, or whatever their calling is, and really make a difference. That's why I love what you're doing. It's the same sort of deal. You're doing a podcast. You're serving in a military. Yes, whether or not you want to say it, and I get this opinion sometimes about people who are in the service. They're like, "Oh, I know it. You don't always have to tell me thank you for my service," but it is a very big deal. Why? Because at any one point, if tomorrow we go to war, your life is going to be on the line, not mine. So at that point, that's why I say yes. I give kudos where kudos always goes. So again, thank you so much. And again, I love what your roles are and how you actually approach them every single day, because it does make a difference. And
Thank
people,
you.
and the people who don't know that are learning now. So that's why that's why I wanted to bring you on and have these conversations, because again, they're meaningful. They add so much to somebody who might be watching this, not right now. They could be watching it next week, and they go, "Wow, I'm a military mom. I understand it. I get the whole deal. It's tough, right? I
Yeah.
mean, especially for a mom, because again, you have a commitment that you have to fulfill on that end, and you get pulled away sometimes from the kiddos. Big deal. That's a big deal for a lot of uh, military moms who are putting in the work. So yeah,
Mhm.
I take my hat off, and I just take my hat off to mothers in general. That's why next month I next month I'm doing a whole big deal about women. It's going to be I'm doing 4 separate roundtables, and I've already put this out there yesterday, where I'm going to be centering it around women, because again, it is, as a man, I feel if I want to show my daughters the truth about what they can actually become, I have to find examples that I can lift up and show them. If that makes any sense, to just let them know, look, there's people out here doing it all the time. Normal, everyday women who are living these lifestyles and putting in the things to follow their passions, and they're challenging and they're accomplishing and they're pushing limits and boundaries, and I want them to understand that. So yeah, if I'm going to do that, I have the forum to show them the examples to get in those positions to say, look, if my daughters ever go back and watch this, they'll know why. I had a reason, I had intention to want to do that. So yeah, I think those points are very important in highlighting. And again, I'm a male myself, so I know there's extraordinary men out there. You'll get a chance, but for me, this is what's important for me right now, because we're on the cusp of, again, something very important next month. We're going to have our first woman inaugurated in the second highest position of power in this country. You know, that's not a thing to take lightly. It's taken years to get to this point. So yeah, I want to highlight a lot of the special women who are here and are part of this community as well, because they add so much to what we go on here. It's not just one person or one type of mother or woman. I mean, you don't even have, it's not even so about just about mothers, it's about women as well. I mean, women who make strides. They're setting examples um for other, women who are young girls who are seeing this and want to go out there and chase their dreams and chase the things that they're passionate about. So yeah, I'm never teaching that there's limitations on what you can do. Never.
Yep, and what I love about what you're saying too is that it made me think that growing up, my my mother was not supportive of being a mother. I guess, if that makes sense. Like, she was a mom that didn't mean to be a mom, and
Uh-huh.
love her to death. We're fine now, but as a role model growing up, I was told basically don't have kids unless you want your life to end, like in no uncertain terms.
Wow.
And so when I had my kids, I legitimately thought in my head, oh my God, my life is over. I'll never be able to be a career holding mom. Like, it's just not a thing that happens. And when I started to do it, that was one of the first really big lessons that I learned, is that, the only thing that's stopping us just as people in general is just exactly, yes, Hallie, what up, girl? We really have no limitations. Like, it's literally all in your head. Like, it's the constructs that you make up, or the things that you believe or you were told to believe. Like, none of it is fucking true. Like, just like, know your passion, know what it is that you want to do, and just go fucking do it. Just do it. And don't give a shit what anybody else thinks about it. Don't give a shit what barriers other people put up. Like, if you believe the barriers don't exist, you will find a way to get past those barriers every time.
Yes, and that's one of the things that, again, it's to see that, and again, I look for, um, I really focus a lot on that for my daughters, because I know for them, um, there's going to be coming a day where I won't be there, and I want them to be able to do the things that they want to do. So if it's even the things like, I love this comment that uh, Marissa had put up there. Let me find it real quick, because
Oh my
right
gosh.
here.
While you're
So
looking for that, I realized, Wendy, you're sitting with your parents. I am so sorry for cussing. I am
that's
so
okay.
sorry. Tell them I'm so sorry and that I love them because I love you.
There
Okay,
you
go
go.
ahead. I'm sorry.
So so here we go.
It's
That's
a rough
okay.
one.
We get passionate, right? That's okay.
I digested so much emotion.
Yes. So we have a female coach in the NFL. Yes, we do. And we have females playing in college football too. So yes. And we'll have a female vice president in January. That's what I mean. And I see people who go out there and can do these sort of things and build these uh, opportunities for them. And I love that it makes
Fully
a
Vandercheck.
yes. So
Thank
yes,
you.
we love you more. There you go. Lead by example, and that's what it means.
Yeah.
But like, um, even a woman who invented Spanx, right? Sarah Blakely is her name. She had to work very hard in building something where people would tell her no, it's not going to work, and she found a way to make it happen. So much so that, um, of course, women all over the world celebrate her because of what she created, um, and it's a whole brand and it's whole thing. So this is why I say, there you find women out there who have this ability to want to go out there and make a difference, and it always seems that there's always going to be a barrier in front of them because of that just natural gender wall that's there. I mean, I want to push that down for a lot of reasons, because I want us to all see again how we're supposed to be seen as equals, um, as partners in anything, and that we have, that when we pick somebody to be in a position, we pick them because solely they have the skills that are necessary to handle the task in front of them, not because she might be a woman, she might be a man. So that's why, I hate things like wage gaps for different genders. That drives me nuts. Women CEOs don't make as much as men CEOs. There's studies on it. There's things that don't. I mean, and it's just it bugs me sometimes, and I get it. I can't do that, but I have the form here to do what I can do to help change that a little bit more, and that little stigma that we can possibly
Yeah. And
know that.
that's honestly, as we talk about, mental constructs, that's something for men too. As an example of that, my first name is Foley. And so people who don't know me, they don't know if I'm a male or a female. And so one of my very first training events, they assumed that Foley was a man's name. And so I was paired with an infantry unit. This was before women were allowed to be in the infantry. And I trained with them for a month and a half. And they were told that if I would beat them in a ruck, or if I would beat them in a run, or whatever the event, that they essentially would pay for it for the next like 2-3 hours by having more and more physical training. And so it got to the point that no one wanted me to work out with them because I was always beating them in rucks and like runs and stuff like that. But but that was part of their, like, it was hard for them to understand as part of their culture that like women are equal to men in like physically we can be equal, like mentally, emotionally, like all of it. It just there's so many walls to break down. But like I said, if I didn't realize it at the time because I was so young and I was just doing my thing and just trying to, run faster and do better and all of that. But I didn't realize the implications until I looked back and was like, damn, those guys, like, they had no fucking idea who they were dealing with,
Exactly, right.
but
So,
they learned a really good lesson. So,
it's going to be a while, but there'll be a point, and I know that maybe it might not be in my lifetime, but there'll be a point where there'll be a female 5-star general who is or there might be a female in charge of the Joint Chief of Staff. So they'll have the opportunity to be in those positions. It's just going to take a while because it's very hard for a lot of males to see that they are equals. I and I get it. I mean, there's just always going to be that thing because I don't know if it's an inferiority complex that a lot of males have. I don't know what it is. I just know that I don't want it. I don't um I can only control the things that I can, but I push as hard as I can to change the things that I can. So if I have the opportunity to come on here and highlight and spotlight a lot of very powerful, very interesting women doing things in the world, I love doing that. I mean, and again, I get a whole mix here. I get guys coming on here too as well. It's not the point of it, but yeah, there's going to be an emphasis for me going forward. Why I think it's really important.
I love
Yes,
you, Marissa.
that's why I'm saying she's an awesome person. So that's why
What also I want to highlight here too is that I think over the past years it's really been highlighted that women are recognizing each other as just these pillars of strength, and that they're not afraid to say, look at that woman, like, see what she can do, y'all go look at her. Like, there's no battle between anyone in that aspect. I think that women have been doing a great job of linking arms and really recognizing each other and respecting each other and helping one another get to that next level. So,
and it is. I mean, and that's the whole. Again, that's the whole thing about why. There you go. I love that.
Yes. Yeah, it's true.
So,
yep.
And that's one of the things. And that's one of the things that I work very, very hard.
Thank you, Mr. Patel.
Oh,
I appreciate your comment.
I work very hard to, abundance mentality. You got to have it. It's very important. So I teach my son that a lot because he's surrounded, right? But I tell him that that's the sort of deal, though. I mean,
wait, how many kids do you have? 5?
So I have an older one. She's 24. I have a 13, a 10, a 7, and a 6.
Yeah, and I apologize. I know I'm not the one that's supposed to ask the questions. That's
okay.
Thing
That's okay.
Now,
that's okay. So yes.
Wait, I was at 4, and then you added one more, and so I'm like, well, shit. How many more kids do you have that I don't know about?
Yeah. Well, that's just 4. That's just 4 daughters.
Okay, 4 daughters plus 1 son. Got it. Okay.
1 son. So there is one.
Sorry.
There's one sprinkled in there. So, but again, that's why I say it's very important for me to push a lot of these examples, because I want them to understand very clearly that yes, you're going to be growing up in a different world than women 100 or 150 or 200 years ago had from where you are. So yes, take advantage of it and make the best of the opportunities that you put in front of you, and go out and make a difference, so that one day you will have the opportunity to kind of reciprocate it to hopefully the next generation. There's somebody that comes behind you that you inspire, that you help change their course and help build the next, the next set of trailblazers who are going to come along and change things, because there's still a lot of paths, there's still a lot of trails that have to be crossed and that we have not crossed yet. Again, we're still waiting on the plateau of having a female president, right? It's just one of those things that it will eventually happen. Hopefully it might be in my time, but it might not. But I'm okay with that, because as long as I keep pushing it and going, that's something that needs to stay important, because just not because she's a woman, because she's the most qualified person for the job, and that's what I want to be able to say. So that's why one day I know that we'll get to that point, and hopefully it'll be before I leave off of this earth. And if I'm lucky enough, I'll get to see that. That'll be I'll probably be crying at that point because that'll be a pretty special day. Um, but it means a lot. It really does. So thank you, Foley, so much for what you do. And of course, I wanted to thank every single one of you ladies who were part of the conversation tonight. Um,
Oh,
because
that's so sweet.
yeah, because you guys, again, you guys make so much of a difference out there in the world. You guys are pushing a lot of the things. You're helping again. You're helping build the next generation of people who are going to come across out here and change this world and help shape it into whatever we're supposed to be as a society. So yeah, I love this. I love it so much. So everybody's still commenting, yes, guys. So Foley, come to the point before we get out of here. I got to ask the question. This is the question I've asked every guest that comes on the show. So
Oh shit, I didn't study.
yes, that's okay. There's no right or wrong answer, but here it goes.
Okay.
All right. So when the book is said and done on Foley Hart, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind, and what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to leave a legacy behind of empowerment, just of everybody. You know, doesn't matter male, female, big, small. It doesn't matter. People need to be empowered to be themselves and lead from their hearts. And I want to be remembered for doing what's right all the time.
Okay. And again, that's the whole thing about it. I explain. Everybody comes on here. You don't have.
I love you, Brittany. Everybody here has been amazing. I don't want it to end either. Come on home with me.
But there's no right or wrong answers. Just wanted to see where you are, probably in the whole spectrum of your trajectory of life, and how that answer, might change 10 or 20 years down the road. Again, it's just, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just about wanting to figure out how you thought about your own life and that sort of deal, and what are some of the things that you kind of stand on as far as like core values that you want to be remembered for when you're gone. Because again, that's one of the things that I am doing myself. I'm leaving my legacy right here, right now. This is part of it. Me doing these things and building the opportunities that will bypass my time on this earth. That's what I'm leaving behind. And the one thing that I tell everybody I want to be remembered for is I want to be remembered for always looking for the good in people and wanting to give everybody the opportunities that to share their own voice and to be become the people that they were meant to be. So that's, for me, that's one of the things that I really push, right? So here it goes again. Yes, I'm going to post the can I talk? There were so many P's in there. I just kind of post the podcast, please. And that's what I was trying to say. So tell us real quickly again, for those who might be catching on later in the conversation, what the name of the podcast is and where they can find it. And then I will just pull it up here on YouTube as well. And I'll share the link so everybody can go back and check it out.
Thank you. Yes, Operation Innovation. It's tools for your leadership tool bag to climb your mountains of success. I will typically post clips of it on LinkedIn. I'm extremely active on LinkedIn. So that is the best place to find me. But the podcast itself is on YouTube.
Yes. So I'm putting the...
And then also, I guess I do... I forget sometimes I also am on Apple and Google podcasts, that too, those little places. But so you can find me there as well. But YouTube, if you like to see pictures and people and things.
Yes. So if you want to go check it out, I have the link here, guys, that I'm posting in the chat. You can actually go click the link once it's in the chat, where you can comment and click it and go follow Foley. I mean, go check out a lot of her past episodes. If you loved what she had to say here, then I'm pretty sure you're going to love what she has to share, because I love that I get the opportunity to bring on here fascinating people all the time. So, yes, let me make sure so people can see it, and it'll be on the screen. 1 second, because it takes LinkedIn a minute for some
Yeah,
reason
no
to.
worries. And I'd love to connect with all you guys. So if y'all don't send me a connection request, I'll be sending it to you guys on LinkedIn. Twitch, I don't know. My husband has Twitch. I'm not there yet. He does live streams with his games. Not quite there. I'm not as fancy as Gabe yet. So
Not yet. But I'm gonna put as well where people can go and connect. And let me just see if it pulled up. Yeah, because it's always a little bit. There it is. Okay, so the actual link is in the comments, guys. That's her YouTube channel. Go check it out. And yes, it is a great answer, Marissa. I totally agree,
thank
100%.
you.
So, and again, check out the podcast, and then you can connect with Foley as well via LinkedIn. And I'm going to put her LinkedIn connection, guys, for you who would like to connect with her, because again, it is all about connection here on this platform. There's so many wonderful people here on this platform to connect with, who have a lot of shared commonalities, and it's just a great place to network and find people out there who want to be a part of your own community. So there you go. There it is. That is an actual link. So if you click it, it'll take you to her. It'll take you to her profile. Send her a thoughtful invitation connection to request. Please, I just don't let people. I always preface that, because somebody will just go on there and say, I love it whenever I get a personal message from somebody who takes the time to say, I saw you on so and so's podcast, or I saw you on so and so's live stream. I love what you talked about. Can we connect? And that way, it kind of just opens the door a little bit easier than just sending a blank invitation and nobody knows what's going on. They'll be like, oh, I could have watched you. And so I say, just write a little note, something really easy. So,
oh, thank you, Nancy. You're so sweet.
That's
Oh,
why she's one of my favorite people right now. So,
he added right now, so watch it, Nancy.
yes, right. So, but she
Thank
is
you,
cool.
Mr. Patel.
She is super cool, and I love meeting new interesting people on this platform all the time. So thank you, Foley, for coming on, for being a wonderful guest. And of course, I want to thank everybody who's been a part of the chat. You guys are the lifeblood of what we do here. I appreciate you so much. We will be back here tomorrow evening, 7:30 Central Standard Time, of course, with our guest, Rachel Drunken-Miller. She will be here. It will be a fun time for sure. We always have wonderful conversations every night. And yes, the subject changed, but it's always about people first. And that's what I really love to focus on. So thank you, guys. Go out and connect, right? Go and connect with Foley before you forget. Real simple. Click the link in the comments. You don't have an excuse. Go connect with her. Go subscribe to her channel. And thank you guys again so much for being a part of this one. So everybody, you know what we do here. Stay safe. Stay blessed. We'll get through this together, guys. You have a great evening. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Everybody loved it. It was so many wonderful people, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's a really great community. And for some reason, tonight you drew out the women who came out in force. So I loved it.
Yeah.
It's kind of building up into what I'm going into 2021 with. So yeah, I'm doing 4 roundtables in 2021, and they are going to be like themed for each roundtable. So I think the first one I'm doing, well, I don't know. I haven't said how I'm actually going to do them, but I'm going to be doing.
Nancy says you're still here. Hi guys, outtakes. Bye.
Wait a minute.
That's another reason for right now. She's your favorite person.
Yes, right. So yes, you know what? Here's the thing, guys. I never.
You want to try it again, round 2?
Okay. 100. Let's see. 182 live streams. I would have figured by now that when I end the broadcast, I need to hit the end broadcast button. I just
Obviously, you still want to hang out with your team. It's
Yeah,
fine.
that's what it is. So, guys, you got a little bit of extra credit content here that wasn't part of the whole conversation. So thank you, Nancy, for pointing that out. I would have kept talking and would have been like, "What the heck?" I did not know, and I'm glad Foley saw the comment because I
I
was.
don't know, it's all but yeah.
So, yes, let's do the do-over, guys. Let's play the sounder, and this time I will magically disappear. We're not coming back after this one. Okay, round 2. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.